Hello everyone, I am Dr. Bhavna Joshi and I will be taking the subject childhood and growing up. So today in this subject we will be studying about the 21st century child and the childhood with in context with the globalization, poverty and adult culture. So let's start. So it is very necessary to know that whom we are talking about when we say that 21st century child and the childhood. See, 21st century child and childhood is vastly different from previous decades. You know, 21st century child is one who is able to think, who is able to work creatively and implement the innovation in their everyday lives. So, with fast development of technology and globalization, there are many changes which you can see in these children with respect to the skills, learning, and development of the child. Now, the main challenges of 21st century child is first is the the increased exposure of the availability of mass media. See, it is very important to know that anything whose availability is in access is adverse to the human being. So, as we can see that most of the child are exposed to the mass media at a very early age, and a lot of knowledge, it could be good and or bad also for the child, is given to the child. So that is also very important challenge for the 21st century child, that how to deal with them, because they have a very increased exposure and availability of mass media. Next, the dynamic family structure. This family structure which is changing. Earlier, it used to be a joint family families. Now it is more and more of nuclear families. So the change in the dynamic family structure, then increased exposure to the violence and aggression, which we can see in today's child, is again a challenge. Then the lifestyle and physical inactivity, which we see in nowadays children, as nowadays we don't see children playing in the park, but we see children playing video games and watching TV movies at home. So the lifestyle and physical inactivity is there, that is a challenge. Then unhealthy eating habits is there, having more of burgers and pizzas, the junk food is again a challenge for this 21st century child. Then resulting from this unhealthy habits, the child obesity, which is faced by small kids at a very early age, is again a concern, challenge. Then increased stress, which is taken by the children. This stress could be related to academics. This stress could be related to the competition which they are facing, competition between peer group also. So the stress which they are having, and that stress resulting in insomnia, less sleep, and more of ICT involved things like laptops, like tabs, TV, movies, and all, which is resulting in insomnia. Then increased risk of substance abuse is there. Then the decreasing values and societal norms is again a challenge to the of the 21st century child. Now the skills which are needed by this 21st century child is, we can say that there are 4 C's which are given for this for these child. That is, first C is for critical thinking and problem solving behavior. That is a need of the hour, that the child should have the critical thinking power and the problem solving attitude. Then effective communication, another C is for communication. Effective communication is the need of the hour for these children. Nowadays 21st century child should be a street smart child, who is able to communicate what he or she feels. This is very important. Then next is the collaborating with people. Then the art of collaborating with people for different tasks. Then creativity and innovation is the last C, which is very important to excel in this in these times. Next, the 21st century child with respect to, in context with the poverty, child poverty constitute a global crisis with far-reaching implications for children's psychosocial, cognitive, and physical development. So, child living in poverty generally do not get adequate exposure to the basic developmental experiences. So children who are raised in poverty are at increased risk of wide range of negative outcomes, and these outcomes are educational and cognitive outcome, that is related, or cognitive related to the intelligence outcome, the social and emotional outcome which these children who are suffering poverty are in below poverty's phase. Next, a negative outcome is the economic outcomes as they go on to be adults, young adults, and the last is the health concern, that is the health outcome. We have seen that one important health indicator affecting child development is asthma and exposure to lead for those children who are below poverty line and they work in factories. So again, it is a very big concern nowadays. So next comes 21st century child in context with globalization. Now, when we talk about globalization, globalization is the term which tries to capture the rapid social change which is occurring simultaneously across a number of dimensions. These dimensions could be economic, communication, or culture. So it is a process. Globalization is the process of interaction and integration between people, companies, and government of different nations to fulfill each other's requirement. So it refers to transnational economic and political process. So that have restructured alignments of nations and regions and promoted new ideas, culture, and politics, and contribute to shifting pattern of migration, form of labor, and relation to of inequity. Globalization is also framed in terms of opportunities for technological advancement, the cross-border communication, and the exchange of ideas, people, and resources. So now, 21st century child in context with globalization, the different process of globalization are centered to children and childhood. They have a vast effect on the lives of the children, and it has brought about a drastic change in child's lifestyle and food habits, dressing habit, recreational habits, and consumer approach. Most of their children are influenced by cartoon characters and TV serials and consider their behavior and personality as an important part in grooming someone. So the books which they read, the study material of the children of 21st century are have become globalized. The exercise books, the cartoon character are picturized very nicely. Then the toys which are given to the children have also changed due to the globalization. Now the dolls have brown hair, brown eyes, different, Western racial traits are also can be seen in the toys zone. Then children have become more advanced by the effect of these processes, and the children are moving far away from the roots of the culture and traditions as the result of all these things. Next is the 21st century child in context with adult culture. What do you mean by the adult culture? Adult culture is the way adults live and the norms and values they practice and practices they share. So it includes the beliefs, the behavior, and style and interest of the adult. So the mindset of adults and students influence the culture, and which in turn will influence the growth of the adult and students. So we can see that nowadays in 21st century child, if adult culture has dominance about personal values, children will learn more of moral values and good mannerism. And if adult culture invokes a sense of discipline among children, as children learn by observing, automatically the children will have this sense of discipline. Then next is the self-confidence level of the child is also influenced by the adult culture. Then this adult culture of 21st century has led to abolishment of the innocence which the child used to have at the age at a very young age, because of the terrorism and radical thoughts and spirit of revolution which has come in today's youth. Have made childhood a very age, an age where there should be actual more protection. Nowadays it has been occupied with the terrorism and radical thoughts. So this was the 21st century child in context with the adult culture. I hope you understood about the 21st century child with respect to globalization, poverty, and adult culture. Thank you so much.